We got him. It's United is hilarious. This downfall is hilarious. But we're talking about City today. We're talking Arsenal today. So, how are we doing, boys? I know tough loss, but we got to move.
I just realized what you did.
Yeah, I know.
Unbelievable. We can't start the new year like this. First off, lads,
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Number one, big 2022. We've got some serious stuff coming, both at BoP, but also Arsenal. Look, Curry, mate, honestly, I know people are down, but I couldn't be more proud. This, for me, performance that just, I think, got the, I don't want to say casuals because that's rude, but it got the entire football fraternity to stand up and take a look. And to do it against this city, which for me, by the way, and I've said in the preview, rivaled the Centurion City. I felt that they were better, this city team, than the Centurion City. And, I don't know, mate. Like, I'm so proud. And for me, it got me excited because I start plugging and placing some stuff where we could have controlled a bit better, plug and place some really good key pieces, a little bit of basmati here and there. And you're looking at some great side dishes that make for an elite dish, and I'm getting excited, and mate, like I'm more happy. I've calmed down. I definitely think we need to talk about the refereeing because for me, here, look, on BoP, we never do that. Like, we rarely do officiating mistakes, but I think here it really needs to be talked about because it was a madness. It really was a madness. Maybe talk about ways that they can improve. But, mate, there's so many good signs, so many good things that we can take away. And I really think that this is unlike Wolves. Maybe we should have a segment about why this is different from last year, because I've seen comparisons that it was similar to last year Wolves' appearance after our first half domination, and then we fell from the red card. I think it's a very different circumstance, very different scenario. So, yeah, let's do a little bit of therapy session, but I couldn't be more proud of the lads.
CK, go on. Thoughts. You were there. How are you feeling?
At first, like straight after the game, I was like, "Oh, I'm never gonna go back to the Emirates again." I never expected to lose that. Like, that was the last way I'd expect to lose against Man City because I haven't seen a good performance against them in 5-6 years in the league since that Yaya Toure goal with Walcott. So that was the last time I felt, we deserve to win versus them. So when we started that way and then the game continues, and even after the red card, we still defend well. The way we lost was the worst way to lose, but worst way to lose, like, as a feeling, because I never felt it before. But then I just thought, when I really think about it, like, the performance was the best we've seen from any team versus City, even including Liverpool this season. Like, Liverpool obviously drew with them, but we performed better. It was clear that the City players said it, everybody said it, and I think it did put a notice to the rest of the league that we are actually a serious team, serious establishment, because the narrative before was we can't do anything against the big teams, the top four, all this stuff, and then we proved ourselves against by far the best team in the world. Obviously, the result and points didn't go our way, but we were definitely clear the best team. And I think the players won't dwell on it, the loss, especially with White, because White did the same thing where he posted the picture. He delayed it this time. He didn't post it the same day, so you could definitely see there was an impact.
I've never. I love it.
Mahrez.
Oh, mate, I love it, mate, because you know what? I don't think we've had proper bastards in our team for a while, and you can just tell he's bringing that. I'll give it to you.
And the guy behind him, that keeper, Ramsdale, was the same way.
Oh,
he celebrated massively for the Saka goal, and then he was the first to speak in the interview after the game. But yeah, in general, I'm proud, but it made me feel like I can't watch at the Emirates. But I will go back. But I don't.
You're going back Thursday. Don't even try. You're going back Thursday. I know you're an addict.
Yeah, but that was the first loss I felt at the Emirates,
the Emirates
this season.
U is what Spaces
and it was tough.
That's what
I haven't been on Spaces in months. What are you talking about? It was 1 month in May when I
all the boys in the comments know those that cocaine gif with Chappelle. That's currently a space, a purple space that's been
When
activated.
spaces were new,
Yeah.
It was one summer. But yeah, Willow, come on, man.
Oh, the game just made me excited. I'm not gonna lie, it just riled me up. I loved it. It makes me not scared of any team now. Like it's the way we played as well. Like I know we got the loss and that's the way it was, but it's the way we played against City. It's not like because I saw people going only Arsenal could celebrate a loss and do all that, but we played so well. And people compared it to the way United won against them and how they didn't get their plaudits. And I looked at it and I went. But United played where they literally sat completely back and just played on the break. Like we were generally matching City toe for toe. We were pressing them in their own fucking box. Like we were just going for them. Like I was so impressed. After the first half, that was generally the best half of football I've seen us play against a top side in I don't know how many years. This City side is one of the best sides I've ever seen as well. Like in recent years. Like they are so good. And the fact that we could actually embarrassed them the way we were playing. We got chances against them. That's the only thing that let us down, I think, that game. I know we were going to talk about officiating, but I think the other thing that let us down was we just didn't take our chances that game. We really didn't. We didn't find the extra pass. We didn't do what we needed to do. But I'm just so proud of the boys, and I'm just so I don't know. I've not been this excited about Arsenal in so long. Every game I'm watching Arsenal now, I'm just so I just want the next game. It's just an addiction. I want the next game. Like I already want the Liverpool game tomorrow. I just cannot wait for the next game of football Arsenal Football Club play because every game we are playing at the moment, we are playing so well and it is so enjoyable to watch.
You know what it is, mate? There's no doubt. At first, like anytime, you have these kind of results that people will bring up some obscure stat, they will bring up some sort of weird thing that we didn't compete. And, they really exceeded everyone's expectations, even on this panel. I remember even in the preview, we're like, look, there's no chance in going toe to toe with City. There's no chance that we could sustain pressure. We would have to play on transitions, play on the counter. And it's, to be fair, what every single team in the world has done, except for Arsenal Football Club. Except for Arsenal Football Club, who is the first time that a team has gone physically and tactically toe-to-toe with this City team. And not just for a little bit, not just playing on transitions, but actually trying to control a game. And I've not seen a City so bereft of solutions. I've never seen Pep so worried, except for the Amazon documentary when he realized how serious Firmino and Salah were. Like that, and for me, the biggest thing that I looked at, guys, is I kind of said this on Twitter, was it was a way to lose without losing momentum. And, when you look at the grand scheme of what this means, because we've always said, even on this channel, that one game or one metric won't let you, exaggerate the spoils or exaggerate the winning. So I don't want to do that here. But the one thing that I do see is this is going to be a bookmark when we look back on the season when we get top four, not if. I hope that's becoming a lot more of a reality for many people because we've been early here on the summer. All the boys have. But it's going to be a bookmark that we're going to look back on and we're going to say, you know what, this was the turning point. We had a lot of good performances, a lot of consistency. We were there or thereabouts, but this is the point where we really take our play up a level. But yeah, I just can't wait to get in the game, mate, because tactically, there's some things that I haven't seen anybody say on the timeline that we did different to City that are new. City's never seen it. We've given a blueprint now to the world and the league on how to play City. And I just can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, look, for me, in terms of just initial thoughts off that game, I just think that there's a lot of things you can take from this game, not just in terms of, as George said, not just in terms of the result, but in terms of tactically what we've done. We'll get into all of them because I've watched it twice now, and both times you can see there are different things that you don't realize in real time, especially when you can slow things down, speed it up, etc., etc. The point I'm going to make about this game is I have never left an Arsenal game losing and thought, okay, this is a good thing. I don't mind this at all. It was the most positive I've ever been after a loss. It was a game where I feel like we were worthy of 3 points. I think we just our naivety as a squad at this moment in time. I feel like we went too far in that second half. I think we went We overcompensated for what we did in the first half. I think we just needed time. We needed someone to basically just calm the game down at that point, and we'll get into it. But in terms of what we're talking about with this game and how we move forward, it shows teams that if you want to beat us at home, you have to be at Man City at their best level. I don't think people are mentioning that. Our home record is formidable. And if we can just create this atmosphere at the Emirates, which we have done all season, that where teams have to come to us and understand if you want to beat us, you're going to have to play out 110% of the level that you have shown the rest of the season. We are the best team at home in this league, and I will say that with chest. The only team I feel could be better is maybe Liverpool, because Liverpool are Liverpool. But we are one of the best teams in this league at home. And if you're going to look at what we're going to getting into the second half of the season, all of the top 6 or top 4 games we've got left are at home apart from Spurs. So the likes of United, or Chelsea have got away. I think we've got Liverpool at home. Like, these are all games at home now. They have to come to us instead of us going away. As I said before, we don't go to the Etihad 38 games a season. We don't go to Anfield 38 games a season. They have to come to us. So I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm happy that United lost because I love watching them lose. So it's a good day. It's a very good day.
When Phil Jones is your best player, that sums it up. I think.
Clearly.
Like far and away, when Phil Jones is your best player, I think that's pretty much it. But you know what? Enough about that, because this is full praise. I can't wait to get into the first half because lads, let's go lineups first, because I'm not gonna lie, I was worried lineup wise, and the reason I was worried was Odegaard. And I think this is going to be a really big tactical point that I definitely want to make, because the last time we saw Odegaard against a really top 2 team in the league, he didn't stop that entry pass into midfield. It was a big reason why we lost, and Thiago had so much space against Liverpool. It was a big reason that Anfield performance kind of went down. Thomas Partey couldn't step because of that. There was too much space, both of whom, by the way, and there's a reason I'm highlighting those two. For me, I was worried at the starting lineup, but both of whom had really important roles in this win. And Thomas Partey, man of the match, clear man of the match. But he'll have his own segment. But for me, like when I look at the starting lineup and we had, Odegaard starting, I was worried, lads. I'm not going to lie, because I felt that this game was transition, exactly what we wanted in the preview. I felt that it was a game for Emile Smith-Rowe. I was worried about that entry pass into midfield, and I was very worried about City gaining control and basically cutting off our neck from the top with possession. So lineup-wise, I was worried. I was ecstatic to see, Tomiyasu back. And for me, that was really the only change I wanted to see. I felt as though if we're going to play a transition, which we really didn't do, but if we were going to do it, I felt that Emile Smith-Rowe was probably the best for blocking that entry pass kind of into midfield. And, Lacazette, he always worries me, but less at home. And I think even in this game, if you had to choose a bad player, which I hate doing on a performance like this, we kind of debated. It was between, Odegaard and Laka, but for me, Laka just didn't have any chances. That was the difference. At least Odegaard had some really good chances and penetrated the box. I just felt Lacazette, look, he does really good work, but he struggled. And I was worried about him and those two really in an energy standpoint, because you had Rodri in there, and basically they're full 11, bar, Gundogan, and who else was on the bench?
Walker.
And Foden wasn't in the squad.
Yeah, and Walker was a huge miss, as we saw, by the way. I don't think we get the same joy, especially Martinelli doesn't get the same thrust, who is killing him.
He had cancelled.
When I saw the lineup, because I was with Haas at the time, I was like, oh, Walker's not there. Because immediately, I was like, we're going to have a chance on transition, regardless of how well they play. We're going to definitely have chances down that left, because Cancelo isn't good. And then Ake was on the other side. So I knew Saka would do very well against him. Regardless of who they played there, Saka would have had a chance. But Ake isn't a left back, will naturally defending that whole side by himself. So I knew we'd have a chance there. And then weirdly he played De Bruyne on the left, on like left centre mid instead of the right half space, which obviously started in the first 4 minutes. He played a penetrated pass.
You know
But apart
why?
from that, he
You know
didn't do
why
much.
he did?
Yeah, I know. It's because Erdegaard don't know. White played the ball over the top, and it went straight to the defender, and no one blocked the passing lane to De Bruyne, and straight away it was just in behind them.
Do
White,
you know why? Do you know why he played
and went
Kevin De
2v2.
Bruyne there though?
No,
Because he was looking at exactly what happened versus Liverpool, where there was massive space on our right hand side, and
Yeah.
I think that was the goal that Rodri. Look, we'll get into it because we're flirting around with the subject, but Odegaard had a brilliant job in man marking Rodri essentially, and whenever he passed him off, he had Partey and ordered Granit Xhaka to follow him behind in a second counter press, and so the entry pass into that midfield was completely blocked by us. That's why it was phenomenal, but at Liverpool, we didn't do that well, and I think, sorry, Ahmed, it was Lacazette whose role it was to block that entry pass, and he didn't do it. But the goal from City was if we can get it into Rodri or to Bernardo Silva, who was going to drop deep and get past that first press, there was going to be huge space on the right-hand side specifically because Granit and Tierney have been kind of more reserved of late. We basically use Martinelli a little bit more as the wide option of late as opposed to Tierney. And so there wouldn't be as much space on our left or their right. And so they had hoped that Kevin De Bruyne would basically have that Partey indecision moment where did he know when to step or when not to step because we've beaten the first press. That was I think his thinking when I looked at the lineup and I thought, okay, he's going to target Partey because he thinks Partey will be deeper. And by the way, Partey had a different role and a different role change. I think that's very clear to see in this game, and it's an important tactical switch that we hadn't seen in previous games because Partey. I think Pep was expecting Partey more as the lone pivot than what he was, and that wasn't the case in this game. And that's why you have Kevin De Bruyne in that space because now you've got space to step. You're basically competing with Tomiyasu there, and so I think he fancied his chances because he's going to keep Sterling wide, who in theory would create space for Kevin De Bruyne. So that I totally understood why he switched De Bruyne on the left, but De Bruyne didn't look fit. He looks different.
No, he hasn't.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't even think
it's
fitness. Like he looks a different player this season.
The thing is, they tried to make.
The only time he's looked like De Bruyne was Man United 2-0, and that's because he played in one half of the pitch the whole game.
Yeah,
that's why they didn't have to use it.
Just in basic terms, they wanted to try and make Thiago the De Bruyne the Thiago of the team. They wanted him to basically.
Well, I think they wanted to make Rodri the Thiago, but the receiver kind of in there wasn't going to be your ahead would be like Mane or Jota or whoever drops in. Like they wanted Rodri to be that Thiago to receive in that space, but we blocked it. Like there was no chance. How many times did Rodri really touch the ball? Rarely.
But the thing is, if you look at the passing lanes, they were because I think Pep tried to 4D chess it. I think he tried to go if they're gonna block Rodri and they're gonna try and look for De Bruyne on the outlet.
No, I think they counted on us not being able to do it because all season that's been our weakness. The entry pass into the first phase of midfield has been a weakness of ours. Whether you look at our losses with Everton, United, those transition basketball games, the Liverpool game. Like we have struggled in that entry pass. We haven't counter-pressed well in that aspect.
Yeah, we haven't. But I thought,
I think he was like, you know what? Even if Rodri is, I'm sure they'll try. They won't do it. But Bernardo Silva can drop in. I'm not worried. I don't think he was worried about the first phase. But he felt the reason that the space would be on the left and not the right is because we would put Partey deeper and we wouldn't block that entry pass. And so you would have that situation at Liverpool. When Partey, if you guys remember, to meet, and there was a huge gap on our right half space,
which allowed Thiago to make the out ball.
There was times where Partey stepped, but White was right behind him, and that's how our goal came.
Yeah,
where he went from De Bruyne because
and he also wasn't the lone central pivot as much.
Yeah, he was higher.
He was much higher, and there was a much clearer pivot in a sense. The distances were a lot
From
more
both
together.
teams, for real. Like
Well,
like
Bernardo Silva had to drop back. He had to
Yeah.
pivot so often in that first half. That was the consequence of them not being able to get out, us marking Rodri. And if you guys noticed, like even Ederson tried to go out to the left and they tried to
Yeah.
put Ake wide to create an overload, but
Yeah,
they did it because they wanted to switch quickly to the right and then feed Rodri in. That was their goal, to try to get rid of Odegaard because he was doing such a good job of having him kind of in his pocket.
yeah, but then when they like made a back four with Edison as part of the back four because Diaz dropped to the touchline, what's his name? Martinelli wouldn't let Cancelo rest on the ball. And that's how we won the ball back in like the first 30 seconds or something.
Yeah.
Like Laka, Erdegaard, Martinelli, Saka, that pressed perfectly in the front four. And he just set the tone for the first half. Like starting that way, set the tone. And we did it continue. Like that's the best press I've seen from us and we press very well. But that's the best press I've seen from us. And apparently we don't press well.
But mate, you know what was amazing is because it was the first time I've seen us mix it up a bit and go a little bit more man to man. And that for me, like we've always pressed passing lanes excellently, but we combine that with a little bit of man to man, and that for me is the confidence of the squad building. And so when you look at it, even the few times that Odegaard decided I'll leave my post and press that back line, whether it was Ake who had it, which was a little bit of a pressing trigger. I noticed too every time that Ake had it in space, Odegaard made
it's the fullback though. Fullbacks are usually
Odegaard would even motion to Saka to come higher as well. That's whenever Ake touched the ball.
And so it was a lot more coordinated, but also the important thing was behind is when he left his assignment, because remember, Rodri was Odegaard's assignment.
Yeah.
After that, Partey or Xhaka, one of the two, and many times it was Partey, which is why he had a lot of his man of the match, was on Rodri's ass. Like every time Odegaard went, it was just quick. And when Partey stepped, Ben White stepped, our line stepped, and it was just synchronized. And so you no longer had those spaces. That was the key for me to doing the sustained pressure. I mean, we'll talk into like the high points, but for me, tactically, that was the big reason. And that was like the gamble that, Pep, you could see him holding his hands in his head because he definitely decided to switch Kevin De Bruyne. And for me, when I saw that, I was worried because I knew it was a weakness of ours. And I know why he did it. But how we combated that was just unbelievable. It makes me annoyed. I'm not going to lie to a little bit because I feel if we could do this, why couldn't we do it in the other games when that was clearly the problem? It shows to me that the manager didn't want that to begin with. He wanted us to block that entry pass. And guys, I don't know if you noticed, but Lacazette wasn't the false nine dropping in. It was Odegaard. They changed.
Yes,
goals.
correct. Yeah. So, because basically what happened was Erdegaard was meant to be the Rodri press. That was his goal. He was basically going either dropping on Rodri or trying to block the part of the, as you mentioned before, the entry pass out.
Yeah, and if we normally go 1-2 in our press, in our front line, like generally. Yeah. We normally do that. But normally it's Laka that drops and we have our wingers up top in the two. And, Odegaard will drop a little bit more in midfield. But we switched at this point. And Martinelli was a little bit deeper because I think his job really was to control Cancelo, who is totally marauding. And he was the man-to-man there. So we kind of went – there were two people that had man-to-man. Martinelli went man-to-man when the ball crossed the halfway line on Cancelo. You could see that very clearly, constantly following him. And Rodri always had Odegaard, or if not, Partey. Those were the two man-to-man assignments. And then the rest were blocking passing lanes. So like Chris, when you were saying that he was bringing Saka in, Martinelli kind of pressed up when Ruben had it. That was all part of our previous press, of them coming into passing lanes. But I think this was the first time I saw physical 1v1 moments and battles. And we had to win those. We've had them in the past. Lacazette has done it when he first came in. Forget who we faced, but I remember very clearly when we first reintroduced Lacazette this season, he sat on the 6. I forget who it was.
Aston Villa.
Was it Villa where he sat on Luis?
Yeah, the 3-1.
Yeah, and for me, I was like, okay, great. I love that we're doing that. I always had a problem. It was Lacazette, but that person's job couldn't block the entry pass. That I think is the big thing I want to get across to like the listeners and everybody is that's the reason we succeeded today and we didn't in previous. It wasn't because we changed things. It was always the plan, but this is just the first time I've seen us really complete that tactical instruction. And I don't think I've seen anybody do that to City, period. Liverpool didn't do that. They didn't just press Rodri and Cancelo. Like it was very calculated. And I must say
they aim to drag.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say they aim to drag Rodri out to the right with Salah, and then either penetrate central or just let Salah 1v1 him, and it worked for them. That's how they scored both their goals. It was Salah 1v1 versus Bernardo and Rodri, and then Salah 1v1 versus Rodri, and he played in Mane. But we on the ball.
The one thing I wanted to mention though is I see us doing this going forward. I see this happening at Fabinho. I see this happening at Højbjerg. I see this happening against a lot of teams that have that single DM. I think if Odegaard is able to physically do that job, that is going to be how we go forward. A 2-1 press and have basically, because especially against Spurs.
The one issue, Curran, mate, is we're lucky that Rodri isn't a physical thing. He's a little bit of a fair.
Yes, correct.
And so if you replace that profile with somebody who likes a little bit of an elbow and likes a little bit of contact, we're not going to see that same success. And that's why I've always feared the ESR switch between the two. Like this is the big. So it worked here, but we never really saw a physical paddle. It was much more of him tracking his runner and being next to him. And City didn't pass because there was a man on him. It wasn't like they gave it to him under pressure, which I think I'd argue Fabinho can do, Declan Rice can do. By the way, these are the elite sixes in the league that can do this, very few, and it's why they cost the most money. But I think that was really the tactical differences in this game. And so, like when I saw the starting lineup and we saw it kind of play out, because we might as well get into the flashpoints of the game, and especially that first half because there was a couple. I think that was the big failing of Pep, and you could just see it where he gambled that right half space would have a hole, which was there all season. To be fair, like it was a good gamble. It wasn't stupid. We did have a hole down there, and just Partey was immense. I think that transitions beautifully because I think for me, lads, man of the match. I don't know what you guys felt like, but you can't not reference the first half and not talk about Thomas Partey, who, by the way, I thought was shit, previously, and then miraculously became a world-class player. But yeah, I kid. What did you guys feel?
He was amazing. He won his duels very, very well, breaking the lines, passing wise, able to look at and understand how to control the space in that midfield, keeping the gaps between him and Xhaka close. Because if you look at that game, because Xhaka is actually higher in the pivot now. It's a switch that Arteta's made. And Partey is able to understand, okay, how can I cover for this man? Because if he gets beat, then we're screwed. If I'm far away, and this happened against Palace with Lokonga as well. What Partey I feel has improved a lot on in this game in specific, he was able to understand, okay, if I am not close to Granit Xhaka, and I'm not closing down space in between Rodri and KDB, we're not winning this game. So we did those two things very, very well. And when he was able to, he was not only able to win his ground duels, he was able to get past between the lines very, very well. You mentioned to me earlier, George, and I agree with you because actually after you mentioned it, I went back and watched it at half time. Partey is literally like coaching Saka. It was hilarious. Like I was like, he's literally like, okay, yeah, this is what we're doing. I'm here. We're here. We're here. I understand what's going on. This is how we're going to win this game.
But maybe you know what it was too. Like we've talked a lot about Partey and what the role change was. And the big thing that I noticed is this is why when people ask me, like, George, how are you confident that maybe Odegaard or Partey's role was going to switch? When Odegaard went central to Rodri, we've seen Partey higher up. That's not a coincidence. When Odegaard is allowed to be in midfield, Partey has to go more as the lone. There's a reason that we saw in this game more of a Partey 8 and him doing 8 things and the pivot being more pivot because Odegaard's role wasn't to be in midfield in the middle third and basically be a floater. it was a very specific to go up to Rodri, which pushed Laka up. The spacing then allowed for Partey to step higher. It allowed him the license to be higher up. Before, if you put Odegaard in that hole, that's why you have this 4-3-3. And like Curran, when you're talking about Granite being a little bit higher up, that's a little bit because Tierney's reserved.
Yeah.
These are the consequences about the system change, but it's the same system. And so just for people to understand that if you're going to put Odegaard or ESR or whoever is the attacking midfielder to have the role to stop the 6 up top, that allows Partey to step. It allows Saka, who, by the way, had tons of 1v1s against Nathan Ake. Again, not a surprise to me. I felt that whole right-hand side was beautiful. Chris, we were talking about that it suddenly opened, and it was like shock, horror. When you change some of the roles, the right-hand side looks gorgeous. I don't know.
You say he got a lot of these 1v1s, but anytime it was like 2v1, it was Rodri just coming in and sliding. And I was so surprised he didn't get a yellow in the first half. Like he did so many slide tackles on Saka, but apart from that, there were even people.
Remember when he splits Rodri and Ake to go through?
To go through.
And he did it to Sterling and De Bruyne as well, where he received it from Ramsdale, took a touch, and then he went through them, and then De Bruyne slide tackled him on the halfway line. But like with Rodri, I was surprised he didn't get a red, or yellow at least in the first half. But we'll go into that later. For me, Partey was like in the first half was like solid and very efficient, like on and off the ball. Like he was winning duels. There was moments where obviously Sterling would drop into midfield because there was nothing else for him to do with Tomiyasu because he was losing that battle. So he wanted to do anything he could to get away from him. Like he's not the first winger we've seen this season to do that. Ismail Assar did it. Dwight McNeil did it. But yeah, and he tried to switch, and then Partey was heavily involved in the goal with the pass to Tierney, who set up Saka. He was heavily involved in a lot of the Martinelli chances with the half turn. His half turn was incredible this game. I think with him higher up and his pressing from midfield is different to Xhaka because I think he's stronger in duels and then he can carry it. Because when he wins it, Xhaka looks for a pass immediately. But with Partey, when he wins it, he'll either pass or carry it. We even saw it, I think it was 75th minute, where he won it on the edge of our box and just drove to the City box. And we just needed to get the ball to get the ball away. But like, I think that might be his best performance in an Arsenal top. And it goes to show like, the difference in role. It goes to show the difference in role and the impact on leadership. Because as you said, that's him talking to Saka and giving him a talking to at halftime is not something we don't see. Maybe it's in the change room and maybe we'll see that. But on the pitch, he rarely talks and he rather just talks with his feet. But
I wanted to spend a lot of time on it, mate, because I feel like narcissism, pat on the back. I love to see it, but like this role change, it is key to why our right hand side opens, and I want people to understand why. It's not as simple of like plug and place because we get caught in formations quite a bit. Everyone does in football Twitter, but it's about roles and what you assign in that spot. And right now, Partey had that Odegaard role that he typically has, which is the middle third progressor and somebody that can step and hit. When you give that to Partey, he shines. That is what he is. I constantly say on Twitter, he is a conducting 8. People misinterpret what I mean by that. When you allow that boy the legs to run and let him control the middle third like that, you move Odegaard central, who, by the way, I felt was more penetrative in this game. I feel it.
He was. It's not about feeling. He just factually was.
And it helps everybody on that right-hand side. If you guys noticed, I don't think there was one player, and look, I think Odegaard maybe had less than others, but there was no one on that right-hand side that had a poor game. And it's not...
They all had great games.
I thought Odegaard had a great game, personally.
Yeah.
I generally thought it could have been even better if he actually got the ball when he needed to.
I think he had a good game.
This is why I think he has a great game, because of what should have happened. Odegaard... Yeah. He done, as we said, he marched Rodri off, but it was his movement as well. The amount of times he was entering that box unmarked where he should have been passed the ball and it was ignored. And that's one flaw that I'll have to say Martinelli had in that half was we were absolutely brilliant. But if Martinelli instead could actually get his head up or not or know
He's
where
not a left
Odegaard
winger.
was.
This is the thing.
No, yeah,
He's not.
he's not a left winger, but even so, if he could just have the composure to pull that ball back, Odegaard, I think it was 2 times, maybe even 3 times, where he's open in space. If he pulls that ball back, Odegaard has a free shot at the penalty spot, easy goal, and Odegaard could be walking away with a brace, maybe even.
I mean, this is what happened with the actual goal. When Tierney had it, he squared it, and it was Saka on the end.
But I thought Tierney can't go inside, lads. Tierney is impossible.
Nunes better, man. Nunes better.
No, but with the Martinelli thing, like there were even chances where I was shouting, like when he turned Cancelo on halfway line, and Cancelo tried to foul him, and still kept going, and then he put it in between Cancelo and Diaz. There was a chance, like a big chance, and the players were shouting at him for it to square it, but he had that. Even in the 15th minute, Partey picked him out, and he had the chance to square it, but he doesn't dribble with his head up. Like it's what he like. You can't.
It's because he's not a wide player.
It's not just having to dribble with your head up though as well. Like it's now knowing the instinct that someone's going to be there if I pull it back. That's another thing. Now Odegaard is making them runs now. You don't have to have your head up to do that. Tierney, a lot of the time when he crosses, doesn't have his head up. He just knows someone's going to.
He picked his head up.
Yeah, sometimes he does. Yeah, he does do that.
As soon as he.
But no, there is that instinct where he knows where someone's going to be. Tierney will just he won't actually always look for a player. He will just put it at a spot. He'll put it at the penalty spot. And that's what Martinelli needs to do now. Now Odegaard is making them runs. Every single game we're seeing that he's entering that box unmarked and he's got so much space. That's the thing Martinelli now needs to learn is that he's going to be there. So if I just pull this ball back, he's going to be there to be able to finish it off.
But with Tierney, it's a natural instinct. And for Martinelli, it's not to pick his head up. And when he has the ball at his feet, it's just.
There's 2 things here. Like I agree with you, Chris. It's a big reason why I keep saying he's a striker. The fact that you have this head down dribbling style. It's an innate skill. It's not a coachable thing. Like this is how he is. This is who he is. So it's not something that he'll do. But I agree with Willow where the only thing I would say is I don't think it's just Odegaard. I think everybody's third man runs to the penalty spot are far more coordinated. Like you insert. ESR, anybody, even Lacazette, who's got a tow truck behind him. But every time we're making third man runs into the box successfully, and I think that is that part of it's not robotic, but I agree with you. Where in a sense we're just throwing it into the same spot because we know somebody will be there, and that transition has happened with this team. We're seeing a lot of the same patterns, but I think maybe just to review the first half because we got excited. We talked about Partey, who's exciting, Nelly, who's exciting, but lads, the 9th minute, the glory touch. We got to talk about the penalty incident, especially in the 9th minute. Ramsdale's got it, beautiful long pass out to Martinelli, who just picks it up from the air and says, "Nah, I'm taking it at you." Beautiful.
Erupted the stadium. Erupted.
I don't think we actually talked about that though, the Aaron Ramsdale thing as well. City, I don't think we're prepared for that because normally when you play Arsenal and we've actually played well against the Liverpools, against the Cities, we've done a 20 to 30 pass, beautiful masterpiece to be able to get out of their press. That was completely different in this game. It was just Aaron Ramsdale, I'll pick it out at 40 yards, and we went on a counter-attack. One pass, it took one pass. Instead of us having to beautifully orchestrate a 20, 30 pass play, it was just a one ball, Aaron Ramsdale to Saka. Every time Saka would chest it down, beat off Ake, and we would turn and be through and would be away. And it just kept on happening. And he done it to Martinelli as well. Aaron Ramsdale, I think, needs a big shout out this game because he was excellent. His pass, he is the best distributor in the league now. Fuck it, I don't care. He's better than Edison at distributing the ball. He's better than Mendy at distributing the ball. The guy does it consistent. When he does about 50, when he does about 10, 40, 50-yard passes successfully in a game, people need to start recognising it more because that was outstanding. The way we actually played against City, so much of it was down to how Aaron Ramsdale was playing.
It was quality, right? Because you got to combine that outlet play. And then when you go through and Martinelli's direct running, like the ability not just to pull it out, a lot of players will pull that out. It's not even the touch that amazed me, Chris. Like it did. Like I'm belittling it a bit, but
it's after the bounce.
Yeah, it was the next one where he took it in stride. Like he took it down, then took it in stride at the same time. He didn't chop back and wait for people to come up at him. He literally said, "No, I'll take you on," and it was beautiful.
Because normally, though, sorry to cut you off, but normally a player would take the touch and just
wait.
give space for the defender to just hit out of play easy. But and he took it, and then it resulted in a crazy like penalty shout, which annoyed me.
And this is the one thing that, everyone bingo, because George has an Odegaard agenda. I think he has a better touch. Bukayo Saka's in that position to receive. He has a better touch. Forget the penalty, which we will discuss. That's a goal. Because like when you look at it, he takes a heavy touch. And the reason he goes to take it with his left foot a little bit wider is because the touch is overhit. But
he was going to try to turn and pass it back in.
Exactly, and he had a bad touch there, which I think he needs to get a little bit better at. I've noticed that his weak foot touch is really quite poor consistently. But the peno, lads, like it could be quick. I don't think it's a debate. It's a clear penalty. You go through the back foot of a player. It doesn't matter if you get the ball on the follow through. That's a foul, and a foul in the box is a penalty. Am I missing something here?
I feel bad.
My big issue.
Okay, go on.
So
My big issue.
Oh, sorry.
CK go on.
You go.
The Canadian lads, I've destroyed them. They're all so polite now. Sorry, go ahead.
My big issue, even though I thought it was a penalty, my big issue was in the stadium that we didn't see him go to VAR. Like he never went to if he went even and made the wrong decision, at least he went and got the chance to see it again himself. Because for both of them, he didn't give it. He just let play go on and gave the corners for both penalties. But the second one, they gave the chance to go. And then the Arsenal coordinator was smart and put the second one on the board, but he didn't put the first one. So everybody in the stadium saw the second one on the board and just erupted. But what annoyed me is why didn't he just let him? You keep mentioning you want the on-field referee to have the power. Why didn't they give him the power in the first half in the 9 minutes? Because the penalty goal in the 9th minute, because like I say, people say he missed. But I think he will score because he just scored on versus Norwich. Say we get a penalty in the 9th minute, it just completely changes the game. Completely changes how, and we even dominate after that. But why is there a difference?
Yeah, I'll go to Willow, mate, because that was my gripe. I was with you, Chris, where I was the process is ridiculous, and it makes it worse later in the game, and how Bernardo Silva gets his penalty, which is ridiculous, and we'll get to that. But it makes it worse because the process is different. There's the VAR told him to go to the screen. Why didn't they do it at Odegaard? I think that's the big – forget whether it's a penalty or not, because you know what? To one extent, I'm it's one of those 50-50 ones. I'll be real. For me, I think it's a clear penalty, but it's a soft penalty. But I've seen them given so many times. So for me, if you're going to take that stance, I'm actually okay with it, but be consistent throughout the whole game. I don't know, Willow, mate. What about you? For me, I don't even think it's a 50-50. I'll be real with you. He goes through the back of a foot in the box, and he goes down. That's a penalty.
I just think it's difficult because what happens is the on-field ref goes, oh, you know what? I'm just going to let this go to VAR because they'll make the right decision. But then VAR are oh, well, I don't want to undermine the referee. But then also what happens is, if you send the ref to look at it in VAR, it gives the ref pressure. I think one decision's been overturned has stood when the ref has actually gone and looked at it on VAR. So it's a big pressure to go and send the ref there because 99% of the time they will change their decision. So I don't know. And I felt bad for I did look at it on VAR, and there are some angles where it does look like he completely gets the ball, and there's other angles where he doesn't. I've looked at multiple different angles, so for me, that it is hard. If the ref doesn't call it himself on field, I think it is difficult for VAR because it's got to be inconclusive evidence. And if you're seeing it from a couple angles that he actually has got the ball, and then a couple angles where he hasn't, it is a bit difficult. At the start, I definitely thought it was a penalty because people said, Odegaard stepped on him. But when Ederson smothered himself all across where Odegaard was meant to be stepping, where the fuck is he meant to put his foot? Where's he meant to put it? I don't know where he's meant to put his foot. Of course he's going to step on him if he's charged himself out there on him. But as I said, there are some angles where it does look like he's got the ball. So I'm not particularly angry actually with the bigger calls with the penalties. I'm more angry with the littler calls on the yellow cards, on Rodri being allowed to have about 4 or 5 fouls that stop our counter attacks. That's what I'm more angry about.
5 yellow cards, 1 red in 11 fouls for Arsenal.
Yeah,
makes sense.
That's what I'm more angry about. Is that I'm
but
angry about the penalty decisions.
one of the yellows wasn't even for a foul.
No, it was
It was
dissent.
for Saka talking to the referee.
Yeah.
Two of them. Two.
Two of them.
Gabriel's
Even
Gabriel's was for that as well. It wasn't for marking up the penalty spot that I thought was.
The process is ridiculous. You know what it is, Willow mate? I'm with you. For me, I think it's a clear penalty. But at the same token, by that logic, I think Bernardo Silva's would be a penalty. I just want consistency, and the process wasn't the same. And I think that's why fans go back and they say, look, I can almost take it on the chin if you don't think it's a penalty, which is fine.
Yeah, let him go and make the decision. If he said it's not, then I can't complain.
Exactly. It's like, it's calm. I have a different opinion, but calm. I'll accept the referee's on-field decision. Give the same process to the Bernardo Silva penalty, and they didn't. It was handled completely differently. It's bullshit. I think the ref, what happened, I'll be honest with you guys, I think actually he let things go in the first half.
He did a lot.
And I was happy about it. I thought, okay, you know what? He's letting the game flow, no problem. Then in the second half, he freaking switched it. The Bernardo Silva was not a penalty. The crowd got up, immediately gives a yellow card to Gabriel. And then Gabriel gets a second, all within a space of 5 to 10 minutes.
I think it was 7 minutes.
Yeah, it was 63 and 69, so 6 minutes.
6 minutes.
6 minutes. He loses his head, and then he starts to overcorrect everything that Arsenal do, and it whitewashes because the first half you let everything go. And for me, it makes zero sense.
But I don't like how you're letting everything go, though. Like, I don't get this. I don't get how City get away with it all the time, because I watch most of City's games. The amount of counterattacks they stop by fouling and they get away with not getting a card is bullshit. It's bullshit the way he does it. Like, the one where Saka cuts between Ake and Rodri,
yeah,
and literally Saka's got a lovely diagonal pass waiting for him on that counter attack. If he doesn't get cut from behind, and that's not a yellow card. And then the one where Rodri falls over with both feet, or slips over into Martinelli. I don't care if he gets part of the ball; he goes through Martinelli. Like that's what I'm more annoyed with. Personally, I actually don't think the Ødegaard one is a penalty if it goes to VAR. If it goes to VAR, because there's some angles where it shows he got the ball and there's some that he doesn't. So personally, I don't think that's a penalty. And I must admit, the Xhaka one, I actually do think is a penalty. I'm not actually annoyed with the bigger decisions, which may be controversial.
I'm pretty annoyed. I'm not going to lie. He's diving and Granit is pulling him up. How does...
No, but the thing is,
how do you fall and then you pull the opposite direction?
There's a bit of knee-to-knee contact.
He was already falling. For me, the pen is like a bit irrelevant to me because he didn't give both of them.
Yeah.
So let him. Either you're gonna let him make his decision and not do anything with either, or make him watch both. That's my big issue.
For sure, the process has to be the same.
I see why he gave the Xhaka one because he said it's pulling his shirt.
It's the thing for me was I'm just gonna say this. If I said this on the terrace as well. If Ødegaard's is a penalty, Bernardo's is a penalty. If Bernardo's isn't a penalty, Ødegaard's isn't a penalty. Fine, but there's no situation you can tell me that you're going to say to me, okay, so on one situation, we've got a penalty. The official doesn't give it on field, right? And then it goes to VAR and they give it. And the other one, you have Ødegaard who goes down. They're not sure, but they don't go to VAR and they don't give it. Why is the process so different?
Look, mate, I don't want to harp on it. I think we gave it its due. The big conclusions I had from the officiating angle was be consistent. Whether we're talking about the process for the both penalties, I don't care if you think they're both a penalty or they're not a penalty. The process was different. I don't understand how in the first half you ref a game to allow major tackles to go and then get super critical in the second half. His head clearly went. There was no consistency in that. It's the biggest frustration as a player, I'll tell you, as somebody that's played, is when you go and you have a ref that is reffed a certain way in the first half.
And then changes it up.
And changes it in the second half. Where, look, I can see that Gabriel's a yellow, but you sure as hell weren't taking that stance in the first half. On the Rodri chance with Saka, you sure as hell weren't doing that. You were letting them go. And I've seen tons of center backs make that challenge. And, there's been some stupidity on the timeline that says it's Mustafi-esque. Guys, that's a center back challenge every day of the week. Everybody makes that challenge. And if he doesn't, Gabriel Jesus is gone. He's feeding Sterling on a 2v1. Like, he has to make a challenge, even if he's second best. He has to. So you take that.
The other thing I want to say is, look, I understand that people are going, oh, he scuffed the spot. Of course he's going to get it. The yellow was not for him scuffing the spot.
Yeah.
The yellow was not for him to cover the score. He didn't even see him.
It was
It's
dissent.
It was dissent.
It's because he ran
The
over
whole
for
thing
dissent.
was-
But on
the
this
whole
question,
thing was
they are reviewed,
literally-
but nothing's public. We
Yeah,
know
but
nothing about.
we don't
their
know whether,
reviews,
yeah, exactly.
so-
But the whole thing was is Rodri pushes Gabriel into the ref,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden it's sort of like, oh wait, what you doing? I'll give you a yellow. It's just like, bro,
It doesn't make sense, and I want to move on. I want to move on to like other flashpoints in the half because I don't want it to make it because I think the performance needs to be talked about more. But I don't know, lads.
Wait, George, just before you do that though, I actually want to talk on the actual referee. This is a ref, by the way, who's made continuous mistakes in the past. He's given a ghost goal in 2008. He got suspended in 2013 for 3 months, I think a couple of months because of poor refereeing decisions. This is a ref that has made continuous mistakes in this league,
all the time.
and we allow it. Get us new, like, as much as I actually don't mind the penalty decisions, it was the little decisions today that actually make a big thing. Like, it's the Rodri things. Like, Rodri, like, it's Jorginho all over again. Like, people get away with being able to do things all the time. Like, that's how you win against City most of the time is counter-attacks. I mean, if they're stopping counter-attacks through fouls, then you're just giving them an easy win. Like, we need better refs. Like, we can't be taught, like, refs are talked
How
about
are we the
in
best
every
league
single
in the
game.
world with the worst refs?
Yeah, we've got the worst refs. Like, it's honestly so poor. Like, they're like a pantomime villain, for fuck's sake. They want to be the star of the show.
It's Mike Dean. Well, everyone's Mike Dean now. I think everyone's just seen Mike Dean make himself the.
But they have no.
Star of the
It's because
show.
they can do it. They can make themselves the star of the show and then just walk away because they have zero responsibility. We don't hear from them. They never speak. You see them for 90 minutes, then they leave. You don't know if they're going to get reprimanded.
Do you know why? Here, I'll do this. Here, I'll do this.
Last thing, then we will move on from the rest.
Yeah, I'll give you an example of what really shows everything. Do you guys remember in the first half? I think it was in the 18th minute. There's a ball. Like City have a really good attack.
Yeah, I know you.
Gabriel comes in the penalty box, and Sterling, he gets there in front of Sterling, but Sterling shoves him off.
Yeah,
and the ref goes play on.
Yeah,
calm. No worries with that. But that second ball is a foul. But no worries. How is that different to Rodri's? How is that different to Rodri's challenge with the yellow card?
There's no difference.
So for me, that mentality of what you let go when you let play on wasn't the case. And there's a clear foul, but you let it play on, and I have no issue with it. But you need to be consistent in both ways. And so that was the big thing. But lads, for the first half, there was a lot of really good chances. Odegaard's penalty for me, I did say that I think Yassar or even Bukayo scores that, penalty shout, but there's more. I think Martinelli. I think it was the 9th minute we had that, the penalty shout, and then I think in like the 16th minute, Martinelli goes on another beautiful run on the outside. It's the Partey chance that Chris you were talking about.
That first touch was incredible on the outside of Cancelo.
Who does he meg? He megs somebody in the middle.
Cancelo.
Was it Cancelo?
Yeah.
He megs
it, and he could have. That's the one I'm talking about. He could have passed it across goal to Odegaard, but he didn't. And then we got a corner, and then we just sustained pressure for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, and you know what? After that, so the Martinelli goes on the run. Lads, this is the one, like, I don't want to criticize, but I have to be fair. If I'm criticizing Odegaard, I got to criticize Martinelli. He does a toe poke shot at the keeper, which I don't mind, but guys, Bukayo Saka's in space. He has a head up and he crosses down across the face of the goal. That's 1-0 immediately.
There was also a cutback there as well. There was a cutback as
well.
There's a
cutback to Odegaard. There was options. I think
Odegaard and Laka shouting at him on the edge of the box.
Yeah, but I even think Bukayo is the worst one, where you kind of do an outside of the foot, like you can call
it. This is about the Cancelo run, right?
Yeah. Because he pokes it, and even the shot of the poke, it's near post. Like he shoots it at Ederson near post. If you're on that side, you go far post. That's just common sense. So for me, wrong shot selection. But then you have that Gabriel chance, and guys, it kept coming, and we haven't even
had the Martinelli shot from the edge of the box where it nearly went top corner.
Yeah.
Oh, that shot was lovely.
I was just gonna get to that because, guys, we haven't even got to the best part of the first half.
That was the type of play that Willow was talking about, where we start from the keeper and just play. That was the one time where we just went Tomiyasu, Partey, Martinelli, and then we should have scored. But that first half was our best half. It might have been our best half.
Can we just chat about Tomiyasu, please, as well? 100% of his ground duels and aerial duels won.
Mate,
The guy is magnificent.
I was going to get to him because I think he was our next segment, but I'll let you maybe just lead it because for me, very close to man of the match. After, by the way, being out with COVID, locking down Sterling. This guy's catalog, guys. How many elite
I said
wingers?
Maximan as well.
And that's why I'm not afraid to play Tottenham because he's just gonna put like literally he bullied Son so bad he basically put him in a locker.
Yeah.
Like he literally just shoved him in
He
a locker.
sunned him.
Like, yeah, stay there. Yeah, he did. Like it was just incredible, and he done it again. Like, and it's also the way we build up as well. How he took that took the ball with his right foot and then beautiful pass to his left foot, just straight into Ødegaard. It's just Tomiyasu like. They just were doing nothing on the right-hand side. You had Partey winning every second ball. You had Tomiyasu winning every duel. Saka was beating every player he played against. It was that right-hand side. It just screams Champions League football to me.
Yeah, mate. It was class. It was class, really, when you look at it personified. And for me, he was really close to the man of the match there. The way he locked down Sterling, who, by the way, is elite. Make no mistake about it. He's a very dangerous player. For me, one of City's bright spots in that first half was Sterling. And, he really didn't have much. He had to go into midfield. He had to get away from Tomiyasu to have any kind of help. And, lads, we haven't talked about the 10 minutes of sustained pressure. The beautiful grail.
It was longer than 10, but 10.
I'm just going to say one thing. Someone posted.
It was longer than 10 minutes. It was more like 15, in my opinion.
Someone posted it on Twitter and put it as a sped up 2-minute comp, and the amount of comments went, "This is like a 2-minute video, man."
Wow. No, but it was like a 15. It was I remember the numbers. It was like 15-20 minute period of 71% possession to Arsenal to 29% to Man City. Like that was utter domination and just consistent attacks. Man City had 0 shots on target in the first half, and we had 2, and then we hit the bar in the second half, and we'll get onto that later. But that period was the best I've seen us on the ball against the big team in a long time, I think.
Yeah, man, and it culminated essentially in the goal where Kieran. I said it facetiously earlier in the stream, lads. He can't come inside. Idiots. Fires a beautiful ball, right? And Saka just takes charge, one touch, bang, in. And Willow, it kind of speaks to what you were talking about earlier, where he kind of put it into a spot. I know he looked up, but really he just put it in between two City players where he knew that we would.
Any 3 players could have got it. Ødegaard, Laka, or Saka could have got the ball.
Yeah,
100%. And for me, like. I just think, lads, like when we talk about sustained pressure, we know how good this period was. But guys, why is it that this first half was so good? We talked it to death earlier on the stream, but just to review for those that are maybe late, for me, it was the tactical switches. It was putting Ødegaard a lot more central, putting him on Rodri. It opened Partey to be a lot higher up. It opened the pivot to be a lot closer together. What that meant was that right-hand side was opened. We didn't see that congestion. We never saw that congestion in this game, and it allowed us to sustain pressure a lot more. And I really think that maybe we need to start looking at this being an option for us in the future. I don't want to see Lacazette be that false 9 trigger. I don't. And for me, the crazy thing is, let's say you replace Martinelli with Lacazette up top, and you were to even keep Ødegaard or replace him with Emile Smith-Rowe. Like those roles for me have to be the rotations.
I'll tell you what you could do, right? You could have 99, right? And if you really want Ødegaard, put Emile left. You can even do that. So there's a lot of options out there.
There's a lot of options, but I think this is the option that we have to see moving forward. Like I want to see this. I don't think, because we've had some debates and some friendly banter about it being a 4-3-3 in the past in other games, and I don't think it was the same case here. It was very much a different role change for me. It opened the right-hand side quite a bit, and Partey was doing 8 things. And what I mean by that, he was a lot higher up, controlling play, doing that counter press, and he was doing that role. So,
even connected deep at times. Like it was a real box-to-box performance. Like,
yeah.
The best performance we've seen against City. I keep saying it, but it was the best performance we've seen against City in a long time. Like, but for Partey, I think AFCON came at a bad time. If I'm being 100% honest.
Yeah.
But AFCON came at a bad time. But I think it leaves us, or it leaves the fans with a better idea of Partey for him to leave and then come back, hopefully when we're on the up, and then
Well, the
everyone
best
goes,
idea, right?
yeah, we're bringing a world-class player back in our team rather than him going on a down, which is good and bad in the sense where you could keep him coming in the team, but like for him it was great, and then for us it was just that the whole game, because I think limiting him to the first half is bad, but the whole game he was the best player on the pitch.
The one thing that I just wanted to wrap up is everyone gets way too nitpicky about positions. And the one thing that this game should show everybody, it is about roles. So I was even seeing it like Martinelli staying wide was key. I think his role of being wide was key. That's just the outside channel. I don't care who was there, but somebody holding the width. Look, we've seen ESR do the exact same thing against Villarreal. He's very capable of holding the width. It's not a player-specific thing. It's about rotations. This is positional play. And our players are becoming a lot more understanding of whoever goes wide and who has to come inside. How do those rotations look? Tierney, who I was told could never come inside. That's how our goal happened.
That's three.
Like, it's just it's getting to the point where I just think we need to understand the rules a little bit more. And one of the two is going to be our pressing trigger. It's going to be the Rodri role, whatever you want to call that. If you want to call that a number 10, if you want to call that something else, he is our pressing trigger who off the ball blocks the first entry pass, but on the ball is responsible for third man runs and coming in to provide an overload on the right for Saka. That's the role of that player. And there's going to be a lot of debates when we talk about targets in January, why I think I've said Gini Wijnaldum would be perfect. People shock and they go, what do you mean? He's a third man midfielder. When you look at the role of what we're asking these players to do, that's the thing that we should debate, not the player. It doesn't have to be Martinelli wide. Can Emil Smith-Rowe stay wide? Can he hold the width? Absolutely. Does he have a good enough touch where he's able to attack players in the same way? Absolutely. Can Tierney come inside? Absolutely. So,
Emil could even replicate that 1v1 role versus Cancelo because we saw him do it when he came on the pitch.
He did it. That's what he
Cancelo and Mahrez were not good.
No, they struggled.
Were not good. Like the whole game. Like their whole right hand side was not good the whole game. Bernardo he's not been good for a couple games, to be fair to him. He hasn't been good for a couple games. And De Bruyne hasn't looked the same for a long time. I think Sterling just played against someone better than him.
It's just facts.
Yeah,
he wasn't poor. Like he just wasn't. He was one of the only City players I can say that wasn't poor. Just played against someone better than him. Like matched him in every single for pace, in duels, coming inside, going outside. Like he couldn't do anything. And then Ake, which I thought, if I'm being 100% honest, I didn't even think he was bad. He just again met someone better than him, and then
he was better than the rest.
Yeah, he's their best player, which was weird.
I do want to, because this is great, but I do want to talk about that period where we just lost our heads for like for about 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, the one thing that I want to mention, because that was more in the second half, is also in the last bit. Do you guys remember right before half, Martinelli goes on an excellent run where he's on the outside and he almost takes Cancelo on the inside.
From halfway.
Yeah, and he just dinks it. It's beautiful play. It really, really is mesmerizing run. But the biggest issue that I've had there is, if I'm being very honest, if I'm going to critique Odegaard for not being efficient, I have to be fair. In that first half alone, Martinelli left about 2 goals on the pitch.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He
should have pulled both of them back.
Yeah, and that's being. I think I'm being nice when I say 2 on the pitch, and I think it's tough because 2 of them he creates on his own. So the outside of the box shot, that's on him, and that last run at the 42nd minute, that's totally him in that mesmerizing one. I agree with Ira. I think it would have been goal of the season contender because it was phenomenal. With the way that he took it in, and it just needed.
It reminded me of Chelsea a bit.
Cancelo tried to kick him. It was like Chelsea, but he didn't. He went past Cancelo, and Cancelo left the game and tried to kick him, and went back to the box and tried to kick him again, and missed both times. That would have been a perfect goal. But it just goes to show that we just were. I think luck goes into that because on any other given day that hits the inside of the post and goes in rather than go past outside of the post. But it just. That the amount of chances that we're naming that fell to him, like that him doing that on the halfway line, and then it wouldn't have happened if they had Walker But with Cancelo, obviously, like people were saying before the game, like, or for me, I kept saying, I kept adding Pep, like at Pep team, please just let Walker rest, please.
Yeah.
People were saying to me they have Cancelo, Rodri, De Bruyne, and I was like, Walker is their transition. Like if you catch them on the halfway line and Walker isn't on the pitch, you're gonna cause them serious problems.
But and you know what, lads, like we might as well like get to the second half because
We
like
need
Aaron
to,
said,
yeah.
there is a
Fill
little
it
bit
out.
of
We need to go to second half.
yeah, there's a 6-minute period, but also like Kyle Walker, there is no penalty or not penalty, but there is no Martinelli missing that open net with Kyle Walker. I must admit, because he's back there in position as well.
You didn't have that chance, yeah.
Kyle Walker, like when you really deep it, Kyle Walker is the antidote for why we really were able to exert so much pressure. At least Martinelli.
Would have loved to see Cancelo.
But he
versus
wasn't.
Saka.
He wasn't unfair.
I don't know what's wrong with him. I don't know enough about
He
this.
was running around before the game, like when they were doing all them drills that they do before the game and all that stuff. He looked fine to me. And when they were doing all the ball strike and stuff they do, he looked fine. He just seemed like he didn't play.
Yeah, I mean, it was weird, but like the one thing I'll say is moving on that first half. I don't know, lads, anything else, or can we get to
No, we need to.
I think Saka was incredible, but he didn't get too much flowers. But it's just him at this point.
Jordan rules, isn't it?
The only thing I will say is there's no debate. He is the second best right winger in this league, and I'm not going to hear anything else.
Wait. You said world wrong there, Karen. Sorry, mate.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, but like to compare him to Mahrez, who's obviously been getting prop for scoring goals back post in the Champions League, but Mahrez was not good at all. He was not good. He was marked out of the game, but even when he had chances to do his 1v1 stuff first 10, he couldn't do anything, and it was just a great performance defensively and offensively, like all round. But their whole right hand side, which is generally their best side, just wasn't good.
Yeah, and then you kind of switch it because our right hand side, which has been congested, we said in the past, was not congested. It was beautiful. And then you go to the second half, they had a little bit. Look, the penalty, I feel like we've talked about the penalty, if it is or it isn't. So I kind of want to skip it, if that's okay for everybody.
Yeah, sure.
We kind of did that already. But after that, okay, it's a little bit of a flurry, right, lads? So in between that period and in the next 6 minutes, Gabriel gets basically 2 cards, one for dissent. Saka gets a yellow card for dissent, and he gets the second yellow for that challenge on Gabriel Jesus, which, again, I think we'll maybe take out the is it a foul, is it not? Because we kind of did that already earlier in the stream. But what do you guys make of that little 6-minute period? Because for me, it's decided by a ref. I will say that. But our response to that and to that red card, for me, was the story of the second half. And there's been a lot of, I think, comments online why we're so impressed with this performance as it was mature, wasn't it? Like, from a positional standpoint, from the entire team in general, the response to that red card, for me, showed it all because we controlled proceedings, in my opinion. I really don't think that there was a big period of sustained City pressure. I saw this idea that when we went to 10 men, that City were dominating the ball. That's not true.
All you could do is give away the ball because you can't keep it.
Yeah,
with 10 men. So
the main thing I'm going to say is in 12 months' time, we do not lose this game. We don't lose this game in the second half.
Even that day, we shouldn't have lost.
That day, we shouldn't have lost it.
We shouldn't have lost. We shouldn't have lost. But I'm telling you, in 12 months' time, with this team a year older, I feel like we're just going to keep getting better and better and better. We do not lose this game in a year.
It was down to efficiency again, because George, when you said about the 6 minutes and it being defined by the ref, I generally don't think it was. I'm going to actually change that because, yes, the penalty happened and it went 1-1, but straight from that, City nearly score an own goal and Martinelli's got an open goal chance to finish. If he puts that away, the red card doesn't happen because Gabriel doesn't have to clothesline Gabriel Jesus. I'm not going to just put it on Martinelli like that, but that is how it is. If he scores that opportunity...
What I'm going to say as well
you should score, by the way. I don't subscribe to the idea that the ref was in the way. I'll be honest.
He screened him. It was like the NBA, man. He was setting a screen on him.
The ref was in the way, definitely, but he still should have scored. Like, for me, obviously, I was angry, but he still should have scored.
The rebound, when you actually look at it with Ake, it was going to his left foot. He had to strike it. If the ref wasn't there, it had to be a left foot strike, period. It was curling to that side. It wasn't. I saw some things online that he could have taken it with his right. No, it was curling.
It was on his left, correct? Yeah,
it was left. So he had to strike it with his left. I do think it plays a factor, but come on, this is a world-class talent that just brought the ball out of a 60-yard pass in one touch. The boy has it in his locker.
The other thing I want to say is, how often do you see the ref in the penalty box on open play?
It was weird.
Why
I
was
must
he in
admit, it
there?
was weird.
No, I'll tell you, Curran,
weird.
I want to keep it quick because I'll be honest with you. In reffing, when you teach reffing, you tell them not to. It was a complete novice mistake. He shouldn't be in the box, period.
We see
shouldn't be in this league. Screw him, man.
My team used to do it all the time. He used to do it all the time and run with his hands out like this in the box. And you're not meant to
it's
do
a
that.
novice. Anybody worth their salt who has reffed before or has been involved in coaching knows the ref shouldn't be in the 18. So I kind of want to park that. But lads, after that happens, the only reason I say there's a 6-minute period, do you guys feel that City dominated in that 10-men period? I don't think so. And I think, in fact, we had a lot more of the attacking play, you know, especially I felt that it almost spurred everyone on. And I just wanted to highlight that because I felt the response from the team, it wasn't the let's drop. We've seen that before in a couple games with adversity, right? Let's drop. Let's do this. I feel as though the team stepped up and they were like, okay, we have an injustice. They could have shirked. They didn't. They kept going. They kept pressing. They looked for, you know, not just the equalizer, but the winner because it was already
we went for the winner. That's the thing. We didn't go, oh, shit, we're down to 10 men. Let's try and hold on to a point. We tried to win that game. We really did. And we attacked with intent that whole we attacked with intent that whole game. Like every time we got the ball, we never went, oh, City have had a lot of possession. Let's try and keep the ball a bit. No. We went straight. No, where's that open pass? Where's that through ball? Every single time we went for it. And unfortunately, I must say,
we even had a chance in that 78th, 80th minute where Partey just started dribbling down the left and then he tried to square it to Martinelli and then Edison sweeped it away. But we still had more of the, obviously the XG didn't look nice with like 1.9 to City, but 0.8 of that 1.9 was what's his name? The penalty, and then 0.5 of it is the Rodri chance. So 1.3 of there's 1.9 XG is in 2 chances of the whole game. Like, the numbers are just skewed, but like it was that 6-minute period was important because I think it was the only period where we lacked composure and showed immaturity. Even if you thought like the Gabriel thing wasn't a card, because I do think he didn't have to go as tight because of all the space around him and all the men around him. I don't think he had to go that tight. But to give a yellow straight after giving him another yellow, because you didn't give him anything in the first half, no cautions. So to give him the first yellow in the 63rd minute or 64th minute and then give the other yellow straight after, it just isn't what he was doing before. And it just changes.
By that logic, you know what I don't understand is after he's done that, 2 minutes later, Rodri barges into Lacazette, and it's not even a foul or a free kick for them. It's for Rodri.
That's what I'm saying. He set a precedent that he didn't follow. Yeah. He shouldn't have. If you're going to give the yellows for dissent, then because we were doing it a lot, to be fair. We did a lot more than
so we're sitting.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying. He's setting precedents that he wasn't following. So the Saka dissent, which was crazy to me, and he's finally talking up, getting yellows on the pitch, which I'm happy about. But like the ref shouldn't give yellow for him talking if you're not going to give the same when the players, when like De Bruyne after Rodri took his shirt off, that was their first yellow. Yeah. In the 93rd minute was their first yellow all game.
Crazy.
Honestly crazy to me, but like it just showed the imbalance, and you can't keep setting precedents in the middle of the game and then not following it. It was
inconsistent. It was inconsistent. That was the main thing.
But lads, despite all of this, when you really boil it down, didn't they not have a shot on target until the 90th minute?
Yep. Yep.
Apart from the pen.
Because the pen's the pen, right? Like they didn't have a shot on target in open play until the 90th minute. And so I think that's the true highlight of this performance, that despite going 10 men down against this City squad, and by the way, against this Arsenal team, which had Rob Holding, Mohamed El Neni on the pitch.
And Rob Holding is at fault for that goal as well, by the way.
Yeah, don't get me started.
It's a really bad header. Like, mate, you've just got a new hairline, darling. Like, maybe you should have stayed bald because maybe you would have got more on it.
Don't get me started. But the thing that I guess, like, I'm using that for me is the story of progress, the journey of this team. You get these players on the pitch and they don't get a shot on target until the 90th minute. And it sucks. It's heartbreak. It's typical football gods that we lose that game, which we weren't deserved. But again, I kind of maybe want to wrap it up in terms of overall reviews, what you guys felt of the game. What can we project about this? Because again, I felt like this was a way to lose without losing momentum. In fact, I think this is a page turner that excels and propels us through top 4.
Yeah. So I think what we're going to do is we'll go around the screen and then George, do your thing at the end. We good with that?
Deal.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, as I said before, very proud, very happy, very confident about us going forward. I think this performance secures not secures in terms of points wise or anything like that, but in terms of performance, in terms of an outlook going forward, it's a statement performance to show that we are in this and probably one of the favorites for the top 4.
Yeah.
I think we need to look at this and hold our heads up high, because in previous performances after a red, look at the. I'll give you a perfect example. Chelsea 6-0. The red happens and everyone loses their heads and it goes, and we're off to the races. Today or yesterday or the first, what happened is we sat there and we watched a team fight to win a game, not draw after 10 men. They wanted to win. They knew they had their City team on ropes, and they knew we could win this game, and I'm proud of them. I think the ref was ridiculous. I think he was very, very bad. And I think we need to look at this and look going forward about. Yeah, I knew you get it.
You didn't get it? I was giving disapproving glares.
I told you don't do it.
I know. I had to get it in. I'm sorry. The ref was ridiculous, and he made it about himself. I don't care about the game making this one performance in isolation. I am proud of Gus going forward, and I think people are going to start to wake up. Have you seen the amount of hatred we're getting on Twitter recently? People are like, "Oh, I don't like Arsenal anymore." I don't like how their fans again. Inject it, get it in there. It's like, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Please, I'm sick of this little bro sort of sting that City had for us. I'm sick of United fans thinking they're some sort of, they're going to magic their way into top 4. Brother, Moutinho owns your club. Shut up. So let's not go there right now. We are going to be in this top 4. We said it in August. We're saying it now. Hold your heads up high, lads. We're coming. And Chelsea better watch themselves. They better watch themselves. And I'm going more towards CK than I am Georgia this minute. Top 3 is on. And
George is going more towards me as well. Don't let him.
And so that's all I gotta say.
I said it last stream that I'm gonna have to suffer for a couple of weeks as we go to 3rd. But I also
I still think 4th, but like my heart is like going.
Keep talking over.
I also did say in the follow-up statement that after that couple of weeks, Chelsea would be back, and so. I don't think top 3 is on unless Chelsea get a big injury.
Well, you do think it's on, but you don't think we'll get it.
No, I don't. I genuinely don't.
Honestly, I would love.
I think we'll go.
Anyone wants a ridiculous shirt that is coming. Don't worry.
I think we'll go. I think we'll get 3rd for a couple weeks, but I don't think the race is on at all. Like I think Chelsea will pull ahead, over the course of the season. But Willow, mate, overall arching view of the game.
CK, go round. There's an order. There's an order to things.
I don't care. I'm the sheriff. I'm the captain now. Look at
me.
You
are not the captain now.
Okay. Go on, Willow. What do you think?
Again, I'm with Cohen. Just completely proud of the team. I'm really loving the steps we've taken, especially in these last 4 or 5 weeks after that Everton game. You know, the fan base were up in mayhem as usual. But I think we've really turned around. Every problem that we have faced this season is looking like we've actually got a solution for it now. It really does. We're looking so strong. We're generally one of the nicest teams to watch play football. Like, Jesus Christ, putting that Wolves game on against Man U today, I wanted to kill myself halfway through. It was that bad a football performance. It was terrible. Like, Arsenal are so attractive to watch. We've got one of the most exciting projects there are with the youngsters we have. I generally think, I would love to see a signing in January to really push us over the line at the moment, because I'm in an iron on if we're going to get where we need to be. So I'd love to see that. But other than that, I'm so confident against Spurs as well. I'm so confident. If we play half as good as we played against Man City, we're going to absolutely slaughter them, because again, they were terrible against Watford. And another penalty injustice as well. Watford should have had a penalty against Tottenham in the 85th minute. They should have won that game. Injustice again. But Tottenham will keep scraping their points at the moment, but I can't wait to play them, and I'm just excited for us to play another game. Come on the arse.
Look, we're going to go to Chris. For all the lads in the comments, if you've never seen a George Spurs preview, you don't want to. It is a different animal. I'm not as opposed as I am.
I will say this.
United.
George with Spurs, it's me with United.
Yeah,
he's awful for both. George,
I'm really bad for both. I'm not gonna lie. So, but
I'm worse
Spurs
for
are coming
United.
up. Some people have to worry about driving more than playing football. But so for Christina May, what do you think about the overall game, the importance? Just a little bit of a preview for you lads. So just remember, we're coming with that Spurs preview. But what do you think about the game?
For me, it was like obviously probably arguably our best performance this season, and we just continue to say that each and every game that passes by, the best performance. But I think it was a staple for a lot of the players that to really set a mark, especially for Partey, to set a mark that he's actually a very serious and world-class player, and to get his recognition. I think the young boys will take it on the chin and not react badly like we did against Wolves, for example, last season. I think it's a bit different to that. I think it's the best performance I've seen anyone give Man City this season, apart from maybe Leipzig in Champions League, where they got a red card. So apart from that, that's the best performance I've seen against Man City. And in general, like, I think the fans gave a great reaction, especially at the end of the game. Obviously, after all the Rodri stuff, throwing toilet paper, bottled water at him, and all that stuff, we still reacted well after the game and cheered the team off the pitch. I think going on to the future, I think the team will definitely react well. But for me, it's maturity at the end of the day. For me, is what I would really call this performance, like maturity and taking your chance, because nobody gave us a chance before the game. I thought we'd take it 2-1, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, we didn't. And then we go on from here. Liverpool this week actually. This week, and we try to win the game. But I'll actually go back to the Emirates this time, because before I was thinking I wouldn't go back, but I'll be back this week, I think.
Yeah, lads, I think it's just.
In fact, sorry to cut you off actually, and I think, but I think it's very evident from the fans that they don't little brother us anymore, and they can't little brother us anymore with Man City. And it's the first time in years that they spoke with disdain towards us. And we saw it with Liverpool fans as well. Even after they beat us 4-0, they spoke with disdain towards us, even though normally they little brother us after performances. So just an indication to people who don't think we can do anything, that everybody's talking about us different, bad, negative or positive. They all are. Just know. I mean, we should have beat City, actually. We should have beaten them. But yeah, go on, Gino.
Yeah, look, guys, ultimately this performance is performance of the season. All what the boys have said, the whole episode, all an hour and 23 minutes is just beaming pride. There's not really much else that you really can say about this performance and this squad that I think are going on leaps and bounds. There seems to be a little bit of a greater maturity, yes, but also understanding of positional play, just in general. A lot of the tactic changes that we said, I don't think I saw too much on the timeline of why this performance was so good. I hope everyone learned a little bit about, for me at least, what was very clear to have a little bit of switches, but also the players understanding how to rotate. That's been very key. And, I'm just so glad that it happened against the best team in the world. And, I think this is going to be a bookmark result. I think we're going to look back on this season and say, you know what, this is the point we really took that next step. And, guys, January transfer window's around. I know we keep promising we'll definitely get you guys some transfer.
There's so many games. It's hard to fit it in.
It is hard, but we're going to try. We'll definitely do a transfer space to get you guys an opportunity to come on BoP again and, basically have your say in terms of transfer
And we might
targets.
need to do like a mid-season review
as well. Yeah.
And we'll have to do one of those. So we definitely got content for you guys. The big thing before I say my thing is, you may have noticed that we have a little bit of a different thumbnail today. And, we just couldn't be more happy that we have great listeners, but also people willing to help us out. And I just want to shout out at Rakan DZN. I think it's, you guys follow him on Twitter. If you don't, he does absolutely amazing edits. And, he's really helping us with these thumbnails. So thank you so much. If you guys like the thumbnail, make sure you guys let us know and
let him know.
And make sure that you guys message him and say what a great job he did for us at BoP here. We're really thankful. But yeah, lads, I think as we round it out, I'll do my thing. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. You hit the bell for notifications. On Twitter, make sure you follow us at BoP Footy. You can find us, well, rather me, at GeorgeV_AFC. And Willow, mate, where can they find you?
The one Willow, baby.
And Curran, mate, how about you? Where can they find you?
At Curran BOP, I'm not doing the finger thing.
Guys, in the comments, give me a thumbs up if Curran looks like a pastor or a priest. He's giving me some major pastor priest vibes. Where can they find you?
What was that about? What was that about? What are we doing?
And then for me, it's pure CKK on Twitter. And from me, you'll see some United slander.
So
much from
all
today.
of us.
You know what, CK, actually, can I ask you, you do your little lock screens. Can you please give me like a United one of them all depressed? Like, please, give me like a Ronaldo on the floor after the full time.
Right now, my one's, what's his name? Jean Moutinho.
Yeah, all the Moutinho goal. Give me that. I want to see some of them, bro.
The best thing about this because we're not going to go too long, but the best thing about this Wolves game is United looked after that game how we looked against City, and it's Wolves. Like they looked like they were distraught. We looked distraught as well, but we looked distraught after just narrowly losing it to City. Wolves took them apart.
See that, right?
Oh yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, mine is Saka, but my phone sounds a lot true.
But yeah, I think we did what George does. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you probably Wednesday. I think
Wednesday, probably, yeah.
Yeah, but we'll see. And let's hope we win versus Liverpool.